Hi, Assalamu alaikum, sisters and brothers. Sulaiman Rahim here, Messenger of the Covenant, breaker of the seven seals. Let's bring in our audio family. This is the Black Alert section of the Fire Zone. Welcome. Brothers and sisters, we're going to discuss actual facts. See, this is the no bullshit zone. This is where bullshit ends right here. Everything that we tell you can be easily proven quickly. If it can't be proven, we're not interested in it. And you should have the same attitude. Because brothers and sisters, you've been lied to from the day you step foot, the day your ass hit this continent, until now. Yeah. They start programming you 1555 when you first hit this continent. Excuse me, brothers and sisters. Start programming you. It took 64 years to program you. And by 1619, you was completely programmed. The first Negro bus came off the assembly line. First Negro bus came rolling off the assembly line. And say crawling off the assembly line, whatever. In 1619. First Negro bus. Completely programmed and ready for service. Stamped with certified and stamped. Branded. You went in Kunta Kinte, you came out Toby. Came out John Richardson. Tony Silverstone. Amos McAvee. See? They weren't names. They were brands. They indicate who was owned it. What master owned you. Excuse me for this cough, brothers and sisters. It was going away. It seemed like it's resurging. I don't know. Seems like when I go out and do a lot of exercise, it kicks back in. At any rate, and so you've been in a fog for 400 years. For 400 years, what, 300, at least 300 years, they denied you either the ability to read or write. 300 years, at least 300 years, they denied you that. But in order to program you, they couldn't program the first, our ancestors, the ones that arrived here. They had to take their children away from them. See, totally cut them off from all connections, right? To their mother and father, to their past, to their land, their history. Totally cut them off. And then they was able to reprogram them. See? And this thing Willie Lynch, his sister, was talking about, you need to read it. Because they implemented that. And even worse, to make sure you stayed a Negro butt forever. And nothing's changed. They're still feeding you garbage. You have to understand how the brain works. See, your brain is the hardware. Your mind is the software that runs on the mind. It's like you have a computer, you have hardware and you have software. Your mind is actually software. We haven't really making that distinction in our talking to you, but we really need to be precise. So your mind is your software that runs on, and they're giving you that's what they program. They can't program your brain. They program your mind. See, they gave you software. See that the software to make you a Negro butt. See, and so you've been running off that software. That software designed to keep you under control, to keep you a NEGROBOT in service to them forever. And many of you still run that program. And once they program you, they don't have to worry about it anymore because they know that you would program your children, they'll program their children, because robots make robots. So they step back and let you program continue. In fact, it's more effective if it comes from your parents, because then you have an element of trust that goes with it. So it's like, it underscores it. See? It solidifies it. Oh, it came from my parents. It must be true. And that's a big lie right there. See? And then if it's reinforced by people who look like you, see? Because they're doing it, so it must be, right? And that's the demons. See? Because they're designed, see, they wasn't programmed. See? Not to be NEGROBOTS. See? Because they didn't want to program them, because they want them to be exactly like they are. The only difference is they're wolves. They want to continue to be wolves, just wear sheep clothing. That's the only difference in them. So they're black-faced devils. They're the master's children. And so they reinforce your programming because they keep telling you that's the right way. See? You see? That's the right way. The preachers love master. Do what master tell you. You see? Obey master. Stay on the plantation. You know? So they reinforce it. So all the things around you is designed to keep you, to maintain that programming, to make sure it's secure. And they check you, watch it, to see if any glitches, you know, if somehow you're breaking out of it. So they can, right, make all kinds of methods to bring you back under control if they see somehow you breaking out of it. See? They got the demons, they got the preachers, right? They got the jails, they got the prison, they got the devils, to make sure you stay programmed. Because if you ever break out of your programming, see, you're going to revert back to being the stallion you was before you came here. And they want workhorses, they want no stallions. See, because you can't control a stallion. See? Because he knows who he is. He's not going to be mastered. See? So they made you a castrated, emasculated workhorse. And that's what all these black males, the original ones, 17 million emasculated workhorses. NEGROBOTS. The other 17 billion blacks are the demons to make sure you stay that way. See? And you listen to them because they look like you. See, they bring master's message, but you receive it because they look like you. See, because the master boy, you might be a little nervous because you've seen what master does. He rapes you, he kills you, he sodomize you, and everything else. See, so you might be a little resident, right? To accept it from master, but you accept it from the demons, master's children. You know, the house Negroes. But the human, see, we talk about the mind, but the brain, unless you somehow some kinds of physical deficiency or something, or some damage done to it, it works perfectly. You have two types of brains, two basic types of brains, analytical and spatial. We're spatially orientated. That means we take heed to consequence. We look at the whole situation before we make a move. At least that's the way our nature is. That's not the way we've been taught. We've been programmed to think analytically. We've actually been programmed not to think at all. See? But if we will think, we need to think analytically. But we've been programmed not to think at all. And most of us don't think because we're not on a mental level. We're on the mind zone. We're on the heart zone. See? But we spatially orientated. They're analytically orientated. They have no sense of consequence, no conscious. Understand? So your brain, if it's healthy, it's going to think correctly. It just calculates. It really just calculates. See, because the thinking, see, Well, that's more. I'm not gonna leave that one alone for now. But your brain calculates. That's what your brain calculates, and it makes decisions based on information that comes in. It only can work with the information that comes into it. So if you control the information that comes in, you can predict decision it's going to make, because you know the information it has. And so you control the information that comes in. And they've been controlling the information that comes into us for the last 465 years. They've been controlling the information that comes into us for the last 465 or more, or more years. So they can predict what we're going to say, what we're going to do, how we're going to act, decisions we're going to make, because they control the information that comes in. And the information they're giving us is information to maintain control of us, to ensure, right, and secure the programming, right, that they gave us 400 years ago. You need to understand this, brothers and sisters. So it's our job, right, is to give you actual facts. See? Because when your brain's going to take that in with all the falsehood and stuff that they're giving you. So at some point in time, you're getting dirty water and you get clean water. Sometime you're going to start seeing the distinction between the two. And you're going to prefer clean water once you make the distinction. But right now, we're competing with dirty water. I'm talking to those brothers and sisters that's, trying to reach you. Because some people get frustrated. I said, no. Because our people acting the way they're acting because of information that they have access to. All kinds of lies and distortions and false information. Like evolution. That's a theory. But you accept it as a fact. It's a theory. They tell you it's a theory. That means they don't know if it's true or not. The evidence suggests it's true, right? But they can't prove it. All religions are theories. But they don't tell you that. They tell you it's facts, but they can't prove it. If you can't prove it, it's not a fact. And everything we tell you can prove. See, so if you have any desire to leave you left, right? If you have any desire left, in other words, if you have any of your nature left in you, right, that's percolating, deep inside, then you're gonna gravitate towards that truth. See, you don't know where it is, but you're gonna be reaching for something. See, because your nature's gonna reach for it unless they just completely obliterate your nature. They completely subdued it, suppressed it. See, but if it's still alive, right? It knows something's wrong, and it's gonna start reaching. See, this is water. I mean, it's keep me alive, but man, this water, man, is something better than this water. See, and then you mess around, take some clean water, and you won't go back to the dirty water anymore. And that's the problem we have, because you've been drinking dirty water for over 400 years, and now we're gonna give you actual facts. And some of you, I don't want, because it's like, been drinking dirty water, and guys say, come on, he's walking out, hey man, I got some clean water for you, and it's free. Oh man, I'm paying for this water over here. You gonna give me some water that's free? You talking about it's clean? What's clean water? What's that? Was something wrong with this water here? See, because first of all, if you already been drinking dirty water in your life, you think that's clean water. That's the only water you ever seen. Somebody come and tell you that's clean water. Say, what are you talking about? Clean? This is clean water. And it's free, man. What you got? You kind of a scamster? Because this don't cost you anything. See, the water they've been giving you, you have to cost. You go to the preacher, he gives you all kinds of dirty water. You got to pay him. You go to school, they give you all kinds of dirty water. You got to pay him. See? Wherever you go, right? You got to go. You go to the lawyer, you get dirty. You got to pay these people for all this dirty water they're giving you. And this clean water is free. It's a free gift. You have to pay anything for it. Anybody pay anything for it. But that's what makes you suspicious, man. I've been paying for stuff all night. Now you're going to give me something that's free? What is it? I mean, I'll be suspicious too. I'm walking down the street and say, here, man, here's some free bottled water. I'd be suspicious too. What do you mean free? Why you give me free bottled water? What's in it? What you done to it? You see? So that's a suspicion. See? And then you're going to have the same problem, like I said, the same thing that's keeping you on track on the programming, that's the same thing's going to be part of the resistance. Because your family going to say, man, don't mess with that stuff. See? The preacher going to say, hey, man, watch that stuff. Your friends, the demons, hey, man. You see? So you're going to have all that orchestra behind you saying, hey, man, don't mess with that stuff. So the opposition is intense. It's intense, and especially if it's 8 billion strong. Because everybody on this planet has been drinking dirty water for the last 35,000 years. It says the clean water wouldn't come to the end when the seals were broken, because that was the revelation is the clean water that will not be revealed until this end of time. That in the book of Daniel, same thing. Both of them are sealed, and that's the clean water that you will not get until the end of this 6,000-year cycle. But you've been used to drinking dirty water for 35,000 years. Clean water could seem like an oddity. What the hell is that? Somebody tell you, you mean this ain't clean water we've been drinking? See? Christianity's not clean water. The test is, can you prove it? Can you prove that it's clean? See? Can you prove anything they're telling you is true? That's the way. That's the test. Can you prove anything they've told you? Can you prove it? If you can't prove it, you gotta dismiss it. Well, you say, oh well, okay. Let me back up. I'm gonna give you a little bone on this one. If there's nothing else, you can't dismiss it, unless you got something else to replace it with. Like I said, dirty water is better than no water, because you need water. So if there's only dirty water around, you can't stop drinking dirty water. You gotta drink it. You have no choice. But once there's a choice, see, then you have to make it. And now you have a choice. And they make it easy for you, because we know it's so difficult for you, so we make it free. You have to pay anything for it. See? And it's clean, and you can test it. We give you the kit to test it. See? We give you a kit and show you how to use the kit to test it. See? Because we give you the key to it. We give you the engine. We give you the key to it so you can test it for yourself. They don't give you any keys. You can't prove anything they say. But we can prove everything we say because we give you the proof. You see? Say, oh, well, you talking about the same old Bible? Yeah, we're not talking about the same Bible you're talking about. We're talking about the unsealed Bible. And recently I did a presentation showing you that is truly mathematical. Because it tells you the sequence of events will happen, and if you understand pressure and you understand the nature of the nations, then you understand it's mathematical. And that's the way, the same way the scriptures give it to you that way, but it talks to, they call prose, right? Because they know you wouldn't be mathematical. See, but once the seals are broken, then you're given the key, because you naturally a mathematical thinker. But you got so many people say, man, I ain't into mathematics. Why? Because the way they programmed you. Because you can't find any connection. See, because in other words, if you apply mathematics to this reality told you, it doesn't add up. So you don't do it, because you believe this reality is the truth. Religion is the truth. And the reason why you reject mathematics because it doesn't make sense with religion. So you got to accept one or the other. That's the way your mind's working. So you reject the math. Say, I don't know about no math, because if you adopt math, then the religion don't make no sense. And you don't want to give up on the religion because the mama's in it, dad's in it, friends in it, everybody's telling you, the preacher. See, you don't even know what's going on in your mind, because you can't apply math. See, the thing is, one reason why our children don't do so good in math, right? Because they can't. It's not relevant to anything they're going to do in life. See, you take a Jewish kid, he learns calculus and derivatives. Calculus. He learns see, what's some other kind of math that they might be using? Logarithms, right? And trigonometry. See, he learns these things, right? Because daddy's doing these things, and daddy's make a lot of money doing it. So he sees a connection between what he's learning and his success. See, he sees a connection between what he's learning and success. because his dad is showing the way. But when you learn calculus, you say, what the hell am I use this for? How am I use it? What purpose is it? What am I going to do with it? I'm going to figure how many blocks there is in this community housing. How fast the war's running. So it don't make any sense to you. It's not relevant. So you don't apply yourself to try to learn it because you can't connect it to anything. But a Jewish kid can connect to make a lot of money. Going to Wall Street, make a lot of money. Because the more math he knows, the more successful he's going to be. But you know math and says, what's going to do? I'm going to do with this stuff. And so it's irrelevant, so that the kids don't learn it. It's not that they can't learn it because they're mathematicians by nature. Our children are math. I'm not talking about the demons. Our children are mathematical by nature. They're super mathematicians. And I could teach just every kid out there, unless he's just totally out of it, I could teach him calculus, derivative calculus, right, in an hour. I could teach him a derivative calculus in an hour. Calculus is not so much about calculus itself. It's once you learn the principles, it's learn the power in it is learn how to apply it, to find a situation how to apply it. See, that's the power of calculus. Not to just learning, the form. I mean, how to set it up. See, because you got certain rules, like in multiplication stuff. You have certain rules, but in calculus, see, learn the rules. That's the easy part. How to apply it. See, that's where the genius come in, and you have that ability. Your children have that ability. See, I have my children learning calculus and derivatives and all that kind of stuff when they're at an early age. See? But then they got older, and right, and they see what they use it, and I guess some still dealing with it, some drifted away somewhat, because they gotta see make sense to them. How am I use this to be successful in life? How is it going to make sense? How am I, how is it going to apply to anything? Because the thing is that assisted me in breaking the seals. Because I saw the mathematics in the Bible. I saw that mathematics, I saw the Bible and the Quran were mathematical books. Because I'm a mathematician. See, I taught myself mathematics. I taught myself calculus and vectors and derivatives, right? And trigonometry. I taught myself those things. The logarithms. I taught myself that stuff. Because I looked at it, I says, I'm going in this teacher, I'm paying this teacher, and what first thing the teacher does is pick up a book and start teaching me from the book. I said, hell, I can read. I said, I'll get the damn book myself. And especially nowadays, there are all kinds of sites out there that you can go out there. They got one called Khan Academy. If you got a child, you should put them up on Khan Academy. KHANAC Academy. Khan Academy. It don't cost you anything. And they can teach you calculus, they teach you vectors, they teach you trigonometry, right? Multiplication, derivative calculus, integral calculus, right? Vectors, the whole 9 yards. They teach it all to you. It don't cost you anything. And it's videos, and they break it down simple. I mean, I still have questions about how they do it. It's, I think they do much simpler, but you have to really understand what you're doing to teach it simpler. But with all that, I mean, you can teach yourself. You can learn a different language. You can do this by anything you can, if you want to learn. You see, and mathematics is your key to actual facts. See, because mathematics is no mystery there. Mathematics has to add up. See, and when you take and say, okay, you put religion aside and adopt mathematics, you find your life will change. See what happened. Look what happened to Europeans. So they was locked into dogma for 2,000 years, right? From the time of Jesus when he gave them the Gospels, according to them, right? And for 500 years, right, they was under control of the Pope. See, no, actually more than that, right? For 1,500 years. 1,500 years they was under control of the Pope. See, dogma. Religion, philosophy. And then they said, we're going to separate church and state. And that look what happened. Because they started moving towards mathematics and away from religion. And now they rule the world. Because mathematics is the true religion. They don't really understand that yet because they stumbled into it, right? They still understand what they did. They're not ruling the world with religion. They ruling it with mathematics. Actual facts. And they beat down every religion on the planet. No religion on the planet can compete with them because they're not real. They're myths. Just like all other myths in the past died away. They will die away along with them. All those myths in the past were just strong to those people as your belief in these myths today. But they're not ruling right with myth. They rule with mathematics that can be proven. All these other things they're myths. They're not reality. That's a reality. The root of reality is real. R-E-A-L. And if they were real, if they was really true, if they was real realities, how come you can't bring anything into existence from them? How come you can't bring in a Hindu car, or Hindu or Buddhist plane, or Christian fuel to fuel them? You see, because you say, "Why I pray?" Okay, even if you pray, if it works, what are you bringing into existence? You bring in something mathematical in existence. So why can't you bring in something that's not mathematical, right? that's a Hinduist, or Christian, or Buddhist. So operate on those principles. That does not operate on mathematical principles. If those things exist, why can't you bring something that acts on those principles rather than mathematical principles? See? So you're going to say, "Oh man, I'm going to pray for a car." Okay, and then you still got to go to the dealer. You got to go credit check. I mean, I thought God gave a car to you. So how come just it appear outside? And why don't He give you a Christian car? Right? That operate off Christian principles. If those are true realities. Because they're not. See? Everything you get has to be mathematical. Everything you know, everything you touch is mathematical. Everything. Including you, DNA. But they got you believing in fakes and mysteries and myths in order to control you. Because you know, as long as they keep that stuff, that's they keep feeding you, you're going to make bad decisions because you haven't taken in bad information. You can't help but make bad decisions. How are you going to make good decisions off of bad information? You can't do it. You're going to make decisions based off the information. That's where your brain works. That's the way computers work. They like to say garbage in, garbage out. If you put garbage information in, you're going to get garbage information out. And you've been getting about people acting like they're acting now. I'm not talking about the demons. I'll be acting like they're acting now because of the information that they're being fed. Now, you can start deprogramming yourself. It's simple. It's just simple. Just start asking questions and say, "I'm not going to accept anything unless you can prove it." And you start the process of deprogramming yourself. Then you come out of the darkness into the light. Then you won't be deceived, and you won't be a pawn, you won't be a slave anymore. You won't be a NEGROBOT anymore. But right now, almost all of you are NEGROBOTs. I used to be a NEGROBOT, but I deprogrammed myself. I started to deprogram myself before. I ran to Elijah Muhammad, and he finished the process. Because he deprogrammed a lot of people. Hundreds of thousands of people from my understanding, until Farrakhan came and deprogrammed them again. So if you're satisfied being a NEGROBOT, then have at it. But you lead to your destruction, and you're going to destruction blind. It says, "My people are lost for lack of knowledge." See? So, who's preventing that knowledge? Are the demons preventing that knowledge? Are the devils preventing that knowledge? Is your family preventing that knowledge? Or are you doing it yourself? Are you doing it yourself? Do you want to know? Do you want to be free? Like I said, what did he say? How did Jesus say you be free? He said, break the chains and you'll be free? Is that what he said? Did he say, get rich, you'll be free? He said, get married, you'll be free? Is that what he said? Pray hard and you'll be free? No. He said, learn the truth, and truth will make you free. The truth. So if he said that, that means you ain't free yet. Because you got to get the truth first to do it. Have you got the truth? If you got the truth, prove it. Because that's what Paul said, prove all things. So if it's truth, you can prove it. Truth can be proven. Prove it. Prove those things that you say is the truth. Prove it. Because that's why I get rid of all these devils and demons that get away from around me. Because first thing they come with that BS, I say, prove it. See, he said, stop the bullshit. There's no bullshit zone. Prove it. Prove it. If you can't prove it, get the F out of my face. If you can't prove it, I'm not interested. And from my point of view, even if it can be proven, but you can't prove it, I still don't want to talk to you because you don't even know what you don't even know if you're lying or not because you're just talking. So in other words, you're telling me something you don't know if it's true or not. It may be true, but you don't know if it's true or not. So that means you're a liar. Because they don't come and tell you, oh, it's my opinion that Jesus died on the cross. It's my opinion that Christianity is right. They don't tell you that. They tell you they know it's a fact. Now, how do they know it's a fact? That's the shit right there, liars. How do they know it's a fact? Oh, the Holy Spirit spoke to me. Prove it. See? They're in touch with the Holy Spirit. And these people, you got to think about, brothers, you got to ask yourself some questions. These people that's teaching you this stuff, they're teaching you this religion, this so-called perfect religion, the good religion, living in love and everything else, right? Who are these people? How did they get where they are? How did they get here? Right? What are they doing? Where are their deeds? Where are their fruits? See? It says, they tell you, it says, the devil goes out to kill, steal, and destroy. So where these people, what happened to them? They came out of Europe 500 years ago. Europe was a shithole. That was their country, and it was a shithole. So if they're the best people, both civilized and intelligent people on the planet, then why was their land a shithole? They was trying to escape from it. They weren't trying to stay there. They weren't trying to keep people out. They was trying to get the hell out of it themselves. Africa wasn't a shithole. China wasn't a shithole. This continent this continent here wasn't a shithole. Asia wasn't a shithole. But Europe was a shithole. That's why they call it the Dark Ages. They're the only one went through the Dark Ages. No one but them. That's chapter 20. That's their history. And they was led by the resurrected empire of Prophet Muhammad. He locked them up for 1,000 years. They couldn't get out of Europe. And after 1,000 years was over, just like it says in chapter 20, they went out and covered the whole earth. There have been two European world empires, Gog and Magog, America and Britain. I mean, how simple can it be, brothers and sisters? They said be Gog and Magog, and they're going to cover the whole world. And then there's only been two world empires in European history the last 6,000 years. And that's America and Britain. That's who Gog and Magog is, not Russia. It's bullshit they're telling you. Do you understand, brothers and sisters? And they came out. How did they get this land? Remember, it said they went out stealing, to steal, kill, and destroy. How did they get this land? They stole it, and they killed us, having us off, and they brought us over here and destroyed us. That's what it tells you. So you're going to say that what they did of mass genocide, right? Theft, of universal theft, right? Destruction of our people, rape, murder, sodomy, castration, whatever, you name it, for 400 years. You're going to say, you're going to attribute that to Jesus? You say Jesus had anything to do with it, because that's what they were doing. They was doing under the cross. They say it was representing Jesus. They still do. So you're saying Jesus had anything to do with that? Is that what you're trying to say? You're trying to attribute that to Jesus? The one you say is the God? Is that when you attribute all those acts to him? Because if you are, then what problem do you have with Satan? What problem do you have with Satan? See, these are actual facts, things to think about. So that's why we're telling you these things. That's why I've been untiring and giving you this information for 30-some years, because I know it's going to penetrate sooner or later. Because like I said, we're competing against, we're one glass of clean water competing against a whole ocean of filthy, dirty, stinking water. See? That's what we're doing. And we got to somehow get you a taste of that clean water. When all you got was the ocean of this dirty water all over the place. You listen to the news, they're going, these people don't tell the truth about anything. They tell all this truth about Russia. That's a lie. Where they tell, this whole, it's propaganda. That's all they've been telling us. They've been telling us lies. And they just openly tell us lies. They tell me, oh man, Putin is this. I mean, first of all, you going to go to war with these people that's been killing you, destroying you for 40 years, then you go to war and help fight their enemies for them? They the enemy. They're the enemies. Like Ali said, he says, I'm not, the nigga, the Vietnamese never called me nigger. He knew who his enemy was. So now here you want to go in and you rushing to fight. You're going to fight Putin. What do you do? Did he enslave you? Did he rape you? Did he beat you? Did he murder you? For the people that did all those things to you. And you don't understand you've been programmed. You don't understand you've been programmed. Only a program, a NEGROBOT would do something as dumb as that. People that raped you, raped your mama, sodomized her, and beat her down, and everything else, right? And do it to your dad, and your granddad, and your great-granddad, and great-great-granddad, and your children, and to you. And now you want to go and defend them? If that don't tell you a NEGROBOT, nothing will. That ain't our war, that's their war. You got a choice, brothers and sisters, to get out of here. That's what I'm presenting to you, the Abrahamic covenant. If you haven't heard about it, they don't want you to know about it. That's why they killed Martin Luther King, because he tried to tell you about his last speech, the Promised Land speech. Read it. He was trying to tell you about Abrahamic covenant. They've been hiding from you for years. They kept on the low. They didn't want you to know anything about it. They tried to suppress Elijah Muhammad from telling you about it, right? And they kept it, and they told the black preachers, do not tell these people, they're all demons anyway, do not talk about the Abrahamic covenant. And so, Martin Luther King, we got the pictures. He went to talk to Elijah Muhammad. Wherever Elijah Muhammad told him, he got a pair of balls. He went out and told it, and the next day he was dead. So read about Abrahamic covenant. Read about the Abrahamic covenant. The whole thing, not just the part Farrakhan tell you about. The whole thing. See? Because you have a choice. 1619 and 2019, it says 400 years, read Exodus. 400 years you'll be a service in a foreign land that's not yours. See, that's what happened to us. They would be afflicted, right? Beaten and everything else. Then after that, then God would send a plague that would kill the firstborn, and that'd be first of 10 plagues. You got 9 more coming. That's that war coming up. And that would start a process of you returning home. And said it'd be a plague that would kill the firstborn, which is the same as the elderly. And would pass over you. And they found that it was passing over Black Africa, Haiti, every place was black, but they was lying to you. Because just Google the World Health Organization, WHO, and they put out a report about a few months back that it wasn't affecting black nations, it wasn't affecting black countries, it wasn't affecting places where black people live. But so far, it was just killing you, dropping like flies. Brothers and sisters, you got to wake up. You're going to wake up. Because there's plans in motion that's going to wake you up. See? Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. It's not a game. See? We got to give you actual facts. Actual facts. You know, see, part of the problem is fear. See, fear is part of the reason why. See, that's one of the methods they have to keep you programmed, especially in Christianity. See, they do it to you as a child. Because if you don't believe in this, you can't ask any questions, man. So why can't you ask questions? That's how you're programmed. You can't. Because if you ask questions, then you're going to go in hell forever and ever and ever. This Jesus, loving Jesus that loves everybody, right? That he made you according with the teachings. He made you, right? But he knew what he was going to make because he could see in the future. So he knew he was going to make a defective project. You was going to sin, but he knew you were going to do it before he did it. But he made you anyway, and then he got mad at you for sinning, and then they're going to put you in hell forever and ever and ever. That sounds like a sadistic, a genocidal maniac to me. Let's look at something else, brothers and sisters. See, like I said, it's fear. And so for some of you, paralyzed with fear. And that gets back to this thing in Exodus talking about this brass serpent on a stick. Now, for those of you that has any idea of the angel, like if you want to learn about the angel, we'll teach you. See? Because we give you the key, and then you can see we're not going to tell you anything. We're not here to tell you anything. We're here to get information. That's not the same thing. We didn't tell you anything. And we give you the key so you can figure it out yourself. And a lot of people that's working, they figure a lot of things out themselves. There's people that stand up for this message, because I give them the key and they'll go study. You can learn as much as you want to learn. But Daniel is connected to the angel. And Daniel has 12 chapters, but 13th chapter, they only have 12. But 13th chapter of angel is connected to Daniel because the symbols in Daniel are found in chapter 13 and they're found anyplace else. So they connected, right? Like a T, right? So in Daniel, you got this statue. See, his head's gold, silver, torso, the breasts and thighs, right? Silver, brass, and then his legs iron. And you say, well, why is this statue those four metals? And why in that particular order? See, because remember, the book is sealed. See, so you got to figure it out. Now, if you look at this deep, look at it, right? You say, well, gold and silver, okay. But brass and iron are like a fool's gold and silver. Because you can shine up iron, brass real good. It looks like, you can fool people, think it's gold. And you can shine iron real good and make it look like silver. Because that stuff you got in your fork stuff in your house, that's not silver unless you got a lot of money. It's got iron, or it's maybe steel, but it ain't silver. You call it silverware. So why? Because they tell you they represent nations. Daniel tells you those represent nations. The first represents the original nation. It said it covers the whole earth. Now, what nation ever covered the whole earth except two European powers, America and Britain? That means we had control of the whole earth before in the past. See, we lost that because of energy deprivation. I'm not going to talk about that here, right? Okay. So what it's telling you is that the brass is a nation that's pretending it's gold. And you got another nation that's pretending it's silver. The iron's pretending it's silver. Right? So if you know the gold is the original people, you got somebody pretending to be the original people. That's the Jews. The brass represents the Jews. Now, you got studies to prove, but I can easily prove this. So it's because those symbols, you need that symbol to understand the brass serpent. And the serpent also represents the Europeans. So you have the little serpents, and you have the big serpent. The big serpent represents, remember, because they say the Jews are the synagogue of Satan. Satan represents the big serpent. See? And all the other ones represent the little serpents. Right? So what happened is the people was being bitten by these little serpents. See? The original people was coming out of Egypt, right? They was bitten by these little serpents. They was just plagued. They was just eating them up. And they became discouraged. They became disenchanted. They said, oh man, these serpents just biting us. They plagues. They biting, all over the place. So he was told to take a brass serpent, a brass serpent now. You must know who the brass is, right? That represents the Jews, right? Now you might want, and the serpent is the big one, right? That's the top Jew, so to speak, right? And the little serpents represent the Europeans. And the ones that biting is us. So he's told to make that serpent, put it on a pole. Then everybody that worship or look up to that, then the other little serpents wouldn't bother them anymore. And that's the problem why most of our people still NEGROBOTS. Because obviously, that's the cross. You got a Jew on a cross, right? And you got all these white folks around here attacking us constantly. And so you got black folks say, hey, man, I'm a Christian. Got a big old cross, I'm a Christian. And my name is Amos Washington. See? They underscore it. So they'll leave you alone. See, you're scared to get rid of that name. You're scared to get rid of the devil's name because you're afraid he's going to attack you. Oh man, he's definitely going to tell me definitely not going to tell me you're a Muslim. Even if you was, you're not going to tell him. See, you're going to hide it because you're afraid of him. So that means you really were not a Muslim, would you? If you do that, you just pretend to be one. See, and you want to tell, I'm a Christian. See. Even if you have some doubts about, yeah, I'm a Christian, because you don't want them, because you figure that's going to make, you figure that's going to keep you get a job, and keep that job, and get along with them, and they don't attack you. You're afraid. You're afraid of police. You're afraid of all of them. They put that fear in you almost 500 years ago, and so you're afraid. You got that fear, and like I said in the lessons, and then you're a big man now. Why you still afraid? See, I came into Elijah Muhammad. Now, they didn't find me. I found them. That's another story altogether. I went looking for them. I didn't know anything about the Nation of Islam, knew anything about Elijah Muhammad doing. I just read the scriptures and I went looking for them and I found them. That's a long story. I'm not going to talk about it here. See, but the thing is that I got rid of that name as soon as possible. I got rid of it, right? And I don't mind telling anybody, right, that I'm with Elijah Muhammad. And and after Elijah Muhammad departed, I got into computers, right? I went to school to get, got to take care of my family, right? Because before that, I didn't have no contact with Caucasians, because I lived in the nation's buildings, a whole complex, right? I think it was 87th Street, right? I can't remember, of course, even in high school. I can't think of the name of high school, right? I banked at a Nation's Bank. I was a foreman in the Muhammad Speak newspaper. See? I shopped at Nation store. I had no, I was no, so once Elijah Muhammad, so Farrakhan, he's the liar, he tore it down. He was tore down, claiming that the government did it. The government had nothing to do with that. I was present, they tore it down themselves. So they liars. And then all that was going overnight. And I was young enough, because I found Elijah Muhammad in 1970. I was 21 years old. He departed in 1975 with me. I was 26. So I was able to recover from that. But a lot of people didn't. A lot of people went crazy. A lot of people died. A lot of people ended up back in prison because they was out on parole because of the nation, all kind of stuff. That's what Farrakhan did. He ruined tens of thousands of people's lives. He's talking about he rebuilt the Nation of Islam. That's like saying, you got the, what they call it, Empire State Building. Those familiar with Empire State Building or Sears Tower? And so you tear it down, then you build a little hut, and then you say, well, I rebuilt it. Really? He ain't rebuilt a damn thing. He's a big liar. Plus, he's a demon. He's a devil. He's a black-faced devil, which makes him a demon. His father's a devil. We got the proof. We got him even saying it, admitting it. So how, if you're going to follow a devil and you claim you Elijah Muhammad, you following the devil? He never revealed he was the devil when Elijah Muhammad was around. He would never got he would never get within a million miles of Elijah Muhammad. Okay. So I had, like I said, and then eventually I moved from Chicago back to New Jersey. I started my own business, and I was successful at it, computer consulting, with my name, my Islamic name, and my attitude, just like I attitude right now, because I didn't put up with nothing but these devils, and I tell them, right? I didn't kiss nobody's ass. I worked, I got a contract, I went and did the contract. They paid me to do it, I did it. See, they pay me, whatever they pay me to do, I paid. They pay me, so I did what I agreed to do. And I was successful at it. Being me, I didn't have to, see, the point is, you're so afraid of these white folks that you don't understand nature yourself, because you could do whatever you want to do. Energy deprivation ended in 1948, and their power over you ended in 2019. That's why the plague came in 2020. That was the end of the 400 years. But even so, even before that, you could still, once you understood yourself, there are knowledge yourself, you could stand up for yourself. You didn't have to be kissing their ass anymore. We wasn't supposed to kiss their ass to begin with. But many of you have been kissing their ass, and then you're still scared, and you're afraid of them, and you have to be afraid of them. I was never afraid of them before I met Elijah Muhammad. Well, that's probably because my father, he was old school from Louisiana. He was old school. He used to whoop my ass every day. I wasn't a bad kid, but anybody who was back in the 60s and 50s, they know that's the nature of the beast. You know, if you're the old man, especially from the South, he was an ass kicker. And most of the brothers, they know what that was all about, right? And so that's the way it was. See? And I remember one day, I was down south in North Carolina with my cousins, and they were sharecroppers down there on my mother's side. They were sharecroppers down there, and they lived in a place that you would think was a barn, but they actually lived in his house. And it was like, it was nice little houses, right? All along the road. And then you ran up on this little thing like a barn, and it stood out. But they lived in that thing. Didn't have no running water, no toilet, nothing. But they lived in there, and a whole bunch of them lived in there. It was 2 stories, right? And a whole bunch of them lived up in there. See, a lot of my aunts and uncles grew up in there. So we was down there. My father took us down there, And they used to walk across the street to the guy that they were sharecropping for, because he lived right across the street, right? He said across the road. And he had like a little vegetation thing in behind his house, right? Because they had to go through the back door. They couldn't go out to the front door. They had to go to the back door. And so they were back there, and they were saying, they didn't say massa, but they said something very close. I can't remember what it was, but it sounded like very close to massa, right? Can we get some vegetables or whatever? Okay, boy. So it was a couple of my cousins, right? So we were standing back there. I'm back there with them. And I went to turn around. I saw my father. He was at the end of the house, he was at the edge of the house, right? And he was standing there looking. So we went back. We went to get end of the edge to turn around to go across the road. He grabbed me. He said, "Boy, if I ever hear you bow down these white folks like that again, like them, I'll kill you myself." That's what he told me, and I believed him because I was scared. I was afraid of that man. Ooh, I ain't never been afraid of anybody in my life. But I was afraid of him. See, and I love him to death. He passed away, 1963, right? 40 years old, right? But when he left me, he passed me. I was 14 years old, and I was a man. I was on my own. My mother was already, she already passed 5 years earlier. I was alone. I had no guidance, anything. 14 years old. I had to be on my own, and I was on my own. And I picked up the Bible. I said, I was smart enough to know I need somebody to tell me something, because I didn't know a damn thing. I knew I didn't know anything. And when puberty came, that scared the hell out of me. I didn't know what that was. I had no idea what that was. So many things in my life happened. I had no idea because nobody told me anything. I didn't know. And people that told me always told me wrong. So I picked up the Bible. See? And that's how I ended up finding Elijah Muhammad. I was in Vietnam and I read about Malachi. And I went looking for Elijah. That's another story. See? So I took my facts. I said, well, I'm going to just assume the Bible's actual facts. I didn't know. See? But I said, I need something. But brothers and sisters, see, they got you with fear, got you with lies, emotionalism. Now they're giving you all this music and stuff to keep you rocking, keep you pacified, until they finally be rid of you. Because they don't need you anymore. They freed you because they didn't need you. That's what happened back in 1865. They freed you because they went from the agricultural age to industrial age. They need you. They need you picking cotton anymore. They just lied to you. So we get actual facts, brothers and sisters, but you don't have to listen to me. You can start deprogramming yourself right now. Just start asking questions and don't accept anything unless they can prove it. And I guarantee overnight you're going to change, you're going to transform, you're going to be trained and transform in the twinkle of an eye once you take that attitude. I'm not going to accept anything unless they prove it. Right? I'm going to start asking questions about all the stuff they've been telling me. If they can't prove it, it's got to go. And I'm going to go back and edit all the stuff they've told me and check it and see if it adds up. Doesn't add up, it's got to go. And when you start deprogramming yourself, brothers and sisters, you will find you're a different person and you'll see the truth, because the truth is all over the place. They got you think everything's a fog because you wear fog glasses. If there was fog glasses, it's a clear day. It's a beautiful day. You can see forever. But you got those fog glasses on, and so you think everything is confusing and foggy. And they make sure you keep those glasses on. The demons and preachers make sure you keep those demons on. All the preachers are the demons. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. We're trying to get actual facts. We like a clean glass of water in an ocean of pure, dirty, stinking ratchet water. See? But we got clean water for you. And once you taste it, once you really taste it, I've heard a lot of people come and they run back to the dirty water. So obviously they didn't really taste the clean water. Because they taste clean water. I don't see how you can go back to, unless you're a demon. If you're a demon, yeah, you can go back to the dirty water. Because you don't want that clean water. So you could that clean water, right? It's like, remember the thing, that clean water will kill you. It's like, like the stories about Dracula, you throw clean water on them, it burns them up. Clean water burn them up. Clean water burn up the devils. See? Because that's the truth. Truth kills them. Like the Quran says, truth knocks out their brains. So the people, if they come and they get and run, that clean water was burning them up. That's why they ran away. Because if they was original people, ain't nowhere in the world, once you taste clean water, you're going to run away. Run back to dirty water. That'd be insane. Why would you do that? Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. See? So I'm just bring up a couple more things and then we'll close out. The thing is, bro, you have to act quickly. Sisters, you have to act quickly. Because right now, you heard about the abomination of desolation? What you see right now, this thing in Russia, everybody's getting discombobulated about it. Why? Because that's not it. That's not Armageddon. They think, oh, it's third war. No, that's not it. But it's close. It calls it fall in the category of wars and rumors of wars. See? But they're all discombobulated about it. I keep telling you that's not it. The war that's going to be ignited is the one in the Middle East. It's three hot points right now. It's China and Taiwan, Russia, but I've been telling about this for years. I got the proof. I'm telling you this over 30 years. And then you got Iran and false Israel. Those three hot spots. See? But the first one, the one that's going to ignite Armageddon, see, is the one Iran and Israel. And false Israel. That's the one. This one right here is not it. Once that is ignited, right, that's going to pull them glasses off of you. Because right now they got you thinking false Israel is you. That's the lie. That's one of the lies they've told. Because they don't want you to know that you're true seed of Abraham, that you got a choice, that you got the promised land. You put 400 years, you already paid the price for it. And they tell a lie, they set it up to counter that. But once that's pulled off, and once for America and Britain is kicked out of the Middle East, because that's the war, and it's going to cause them to be kicked out of the Middle East and leave false Israel abandoned and under siege. And that's why I said you need to flee. When you see that happen, we see Jerusalem surrounded by, what do you say? If you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, why? Who's controlling Jerusalem? The Jews are. So it says their destruction is not, it says it right there. Their destruction is not, it means they're about to be destroyed. But if they're true seed of Abraham, they could not be destroyed. So they said when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, right, know their destruction is nigh, it's near. That means they're false. But see, once that happens, right, you're going to be in trouble. Because right now they're pretending to be you, identity theft. And once they found that they're false and you're the real deal, they're going to take you out. That's why I say flee. Because that turns their world upside down. Because right now they're saying you Ham, you was cursed black by Noah, right? And you was cursed to be slaves forever. That's what they used to teach in school. They still teach their children that now. They don't teach it in your face. They tell them still, because children say, how did black folks become black? And that's how they tell them. Noah cursed his son Shem, and then seed Ham was cursed to be black and slaves forever and ever. So in their mind, enslaving us wasn't a bad thing, because we was cursed. That God cursed to be slaves, they were doing the right thing. And in their line, this is the promised land, so killing all the natives was like getting rid of rodents and roaches. So they, in their mind, right, and say, who bless Israel, we bless. Who curse Israel, be cursed. See, so they accept this false Israel, who they was burning up just months before. Remember, in 1940 and 40s, they was burning those folks up. But then now, 48 or 94, all of a sudden, they've been killing, they were oppressing these people for thousands of years. And then they was actually burning them up in the 40s. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, their ass became honey and everybody was eating the honey. How did that happen? After they was hating these people, they actually burned them up. Because Elijah Muhammad said, no, we are the true seed of Abraham. Then they had to counter it. To keep that illusion, that mindset going, that this is a promised land, and that enslaving us wasn't wrong, and killing off the dead wasn't wrong. They was doing God's will. See? So their mind is intact. See? Remember, he who blesses Israel, we bless. Who curses Israel, we curse. So they was blessing with the identity theft of false faith. What the Bible says, those who call themselves Jews and are not, by synagogue of Satan. They said it right in there. They're not Jews. They're synagogue of Satan. So they give them Jews everything they can. False Israel, they blessing it and everything else, right? But that's not the real deal. And they was cursing us. You see? Everything's upside down. It says who's on the bottom is going to be on top. Who's on top is going to be bottom. Who's on top of the world right now? They call Europeans. Who's on the bottom? Us. It says it's going to be reversed. Brothers and sisters, it's the truth is out there. If you want it. It's a clean glass of water, don't cost you anything. But once they're on the seed and they're taken down, which it cannot happen if they true seed Abraham, that means you got to be the true seed. That means they're going to have to exterminate you to get their mind back again. They have to otherwise, because if you the true seed Abraham, that means they curse because they've been cursing you for 400 some years. They've been abusing the apple of God's eye. And God's come to destroy them, not help them. And the only way they can, because now that means they're not angels, they're not doing God's will, but they sick, pathetic, sadistic, maniac, genocidal maniacs, rapists and murderers and everything else, doomed to be destroyed. And their mind's going to handle that. And the angelicals will send the word out. Get rid of them quickly, because the only way they can recover is to take and say, get rid of us. It's just like I said, and I give this analogy and I'm going to let it go. It's like I said, it's like a person that's ugly as hell, right? But never seen a mirror. And they grow up and everybody's telling them, because they feel sorry for them, how beautiful they are. And they never seen themselves. So they walk around, head up, right? Proud and everything else, because they think they're really beautiful. Until one day they run to a mirror, and then they see the truth. And at first they can't believe in the mirror. Then they realize that that's truth. And what's the first thing they're going to do? Get rid of the mirror. See, we the truth. And when they bring down false Israel, it's going to see that we the truth, and they was a lie, and that they ugly and no good, and they murderers. They've been worshiping Satan. They murderers. They stole this land. They committed genocide. All these evil things. See, they're going to see who they really are, the truth. And the first thing, get rid of the mirror. Get rid of us. So they can recover with their lie. That's why I say flee. Don't go home. Don't go in the house. Don't get your coat. Don't get your baby. Nothing. Just flee. Because it's going to be a next door neighbor. It's not going to be an army. Because if an army come, you got time. If the police come in, come harm, and they have to come after all black people. No. They saying it's come after, you're going to be your next door neighbor. Because the word's going to go out. Because if false Israel goes down, the words go out. Get them. Get rid of them. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. I hope you understand. I'm putting actual facts. All the thing I'm saying you can prove by studying scripture. Like I said, we got all kinds of ways to bring it to you, right? But most of you are familiar with scripture, so we talk here scripturally, right? Some are just plain common sense. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. So let's go and check on our audio family here. Okay, brothers and sisters. To you, brothers and sisters, Fire Zone. This is the this is Black Alert section. Fire Zone out. And for you, and brothers and sisters, hope you understand, brothers and sisters. Hope you understand. Actual facts. Actual facts. Just start deprogramming yourself. Start asking questions and tell them to prove it. And go back and look at all the stuff you've been told and check it. And see if it's proven, it's made up or it's proven. If it's not proven, reject it. As Paul says, as Paul, he's the patriot, he's the main one, right? He says, prove all things. So take his advice, prove it. If you can't prove it, shove it. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum.